Here's another item that failed on our maiden voyage. This is the refrigerator lock. If you've seen my original tour video, you will know that this is the refrigerator lock. It locks both the refrigerator and freezer. And it looks like the manufacturer had it installed with VHB tape, which is fine. I really like VHB tape, but this physically failed or separated at the VHB tape itself. So I think it was way too much weight for this little contraption to keep both the refrigerator and the freezer doors closed. But instead of putting it in the center where all the force is, I think I will move it over a little bit more to get that started working right away before the door gets any momentum. The other thing I noticed was that the VHB tape that they used looks like it's this gray VHB tape, and I can actually take it off pretty easy. So I know my experience with that VHB tape, they're not all equal, and this stuff is, I mean, look at this. This is stretching off pretty easy. And I have bought the VHB tape, and depending on what the reseller is, I don't think this VHB tape is the best for this application. I have a bunch of VHB tape from my solar install that I've used for a very long time on roofs. I think that's what I'll end up using. But this looks like that gray VHB tape. I've used this stuff before on one of my earlier solar installs. I've never actually had good luck with it. It actually fell off. This is exactly what it seems like. And like I mentioned, that VHB tape just fell off of here. I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to try it with my own VHB tape and see if this holds better. Okay, I got the VHB tape off the refrigerator pretty easy, but the little bit that's stuck on this plastic piece, it's not coming out as nice. And instead of trying to scrape it like crazy, if you've seen one of my earlier videos on how to remove VHB tape, here I'll show you another prime example. So just take a scraper, get a torch. A hairdryer likely won't work, but you got to get it pretty hot. So let me heat this up. Then with it heated up, you might have to repeat if necessary, but with it heated up, you put it right on here and butter once you get it started. Unfortunately, the problem is this piece is also plastic, so you could actually melt the plastic. So let's see if we can do this gentle. Alright, got most of it off here. The rest is I can take this off with either mineral spirits or with acetone. Because this is plastic also, and plastic has a very low surface energy, which means it's really hard for things to stick to plastic. I'm going to go ahead and use this 3M VHB tape primer. But I don't want to waste the brush on this, so I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Just going to take a wet paper towel and prime this. So if you've seen any of my other videos, like my Starlink video or any of my solar install video, I'm definitely a big proponent of this primer. This primer will definitely help any of that tape ever releasing on you. So I need to let this dry for a couple of minutes, and as soon as it dries, I'll apply this VHB tape on there, and we'll make sure we clean that surface on that refrigerator and see if we can get this installed properly. Okay, I got the primer to dry on here. So now with the primer dry, I'll apply some VHB tape on here, and this is my trick on how I do it. I think everyone can do it their own way, but I actually apply it this way and cut it with a utility knife. It's much easier. Otherwise this stuff is pretty hard to cut with scissors without making a mess. There we go. And now I have my VHB tape on here. So I'll go ahead and clean that refrigerator. And what what I do right before I apply it is I roll it. I think the installation instructions say to actually roll it out like this. Okay, I'm getting ready to install this. And I'm a little hesitant on not putting any primer on here. You saw how easy that VHB tape fell off of the original installation on this metal. But I'll give it a shot. I'll do it the exact way the manufacturer had it. And let's see if I can... Gotta be careful of this lining up. That's too low before I really press down. Before I forget, let me tell you what I'm doing, or what I did already. I did end up applying some VHB primer here because I did install this, and what I noticed was I could manipulate it too much and it just fell off there too easy. And I did double check this tape that the manufacturer had again, and this is this gray, I think it's a VHB tape, but it may even be imitation, as in there's some authorized resellers, but I've had bad batches of VHB tape, but this is not acting very sticky at all. Now VHB tape, there are many actually different model numbers. They do have these, I know they have these gray ones. A lot of the gray ones are for plastics, so it may very well be VHB tape, but the stickiness is pretty much all gone. So I don't know what the issue was originally, but I can tell you from my installation already, without that primer, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting this on there. So I'm not going to capture this on camera. What I'll do is I'll get this installed, I'll show you the finished project, and I'll probably ride it out for a little while to make sure that on the road, like I said, this happened on my maiden voyage, so I'll find out right away if this thing is going to work or not. I did see it sag right away when I purchased it, so it did look like a weak point to me that it may fail in the future. So hopefully this version will be a little bit better. I still don't like that it's super long and it's relying on, you know, the gravity itself is going to pull on that VHB tape over time. So I don't think this is the best application. I think they need some mechanical fasteners on here. But I can see why they don't want to use actual screws into the refrigerator, but they could have put it actually here, a different version of it. And they have some screws here already, so somebody would just have to print another 3D version of making it fit, but I'll see if I can make this work. Okay, I have the adapter VHB tape down there now. I used this little bit of paper towel on the bottom just to hold it as a shim so it doesn't sag overnight. I spent way too much time on it. I think it would have been easier for me to just replace this refrigerator with a 12-volt refrigerator, and I would probably have been done with it already, because I spent more time contemplating whether I was going to reuse this piece or create some shims and put in that new piece. But that's the finished project. I'll report back after it's all said and done. So I don't know if I'll incorporate this into all my other problems, or just make a video on its own. I don't know how you guys feel about videos like this. It is pretty boring, but you know, this is something. I know this this is not the only manufacturer that's using this. I've seen this pop up on other manufacturers, and I'm not too impressed with it so far without using a mechanical fastener. So we shall see.